All right, guys. So this was just filed moments ago. So it's breaking right now. Diddy's legal team has submitted a request to the judge asking for bail again for Diddy. You guys remember he was denied bail while awaiting his sentencing, which is going to happen on October 3rd, because the judge said that Diddy was a danger to the community because of all the violence and just his disregard for the law that they felt like went down. Now, so here's what they're saying. Really quick, they're saying that they have this new bail package that the judge should consider because of three things. Most people convicted of the same charges, the two Mann Act counts that Diddy are convicted of, are let go but prior to their sentencing, and they provide a bunch of case law that shows you other instances where people in Diddy's position have been able to be released while they await the sentencing. One of the things that they point out is that they claim that Diddy was not a direct customer of the acts. So they're saying, even though there were these escorts and all these things happened, Diddy himself did not have sex with the men that were hired to come and have spend time with his girlfriends. It was just a part of the lifestyle that they did. But his girlfriends at the time, Jane and Cassie, were the only people who benefited from the services. So he shouldn't be a person that is behind bars.
So he paid for the escort service, not the sex, they're trying to say.
Yeah, but they're also just saying, too, it's rare that you see in any of the cases that they've provided a person who hasn't benefited from this whole ring that you're alleging be behind bars, especially while awaiting sentencing. So they're trying to make that point and comparing it to other cases. They also mentioned that
logic don't make no sense, though, because if I buy a kilo of cocaine, it don't matter what I do with it. I still bought the kilo of cocaine. I don't have to sell it. I don't have to use it, but I bought it.
But I guess he's trying to say is he bought the prostitute.
If I bought it and give it to you, I'm still guilty.
But he's saying he bought the escort for comforting service. He didn't have sex with the escort. I guess that's what they're trying to say.
You still paid for the prostitute. You still paid for the prostitute.
But they're not arguing, because what you guys are arguing kind of goes more toward, is he guilty of it or not? And they're not arguing that it didn't happen. They're saying it happened, but because he didn't directly benefit, he shouldn't be the person behind bars right now while he awaits the sentencing.
What about
because in other
semen?
cases,
What about the semen that I rubbed on my nipples
that was
from
a benefit.
said prostitute?
That was a benefit.
Oh my God.
well,
Therapeutic.
Allegedly.
They also claim that views on sex have changed because the Mann Act is so old. It's 115 years old. It was created back in 1910. So because of the way the views on sex have changed, maybe things like the semen on the nipples should not be considered in who benefited in what
By the way,
ways.
I do think Diddy
They
should
don't
have.
directly say
I do
semen.
think Diddy should have a bond. I thought he should have had a bond a long time ago. I'm just simply saying that argument.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't feel like you thought that.
Huh?
I didn't think that you thought
You
that.
never asked me.
I always said that Diddy should have had a bond, but yeah, I still,
Especially after he got,
big
found not
charges
guilty on all those
with-
big
yeah.
charges. And he
Yeah.
was, yes, he should have a bond.
Well, the third reason that they mention on here is that, we talked about this. They're just backing up the claims that Diddy did not have sex with the men that he hired. His girlfriends did. This was literally just filed. I'll actually be doing a deeper dive into this on the latest with Lauren LaRose of the podcast, because I got this walking in the room. But wanted to let you guys know that this was going down. And we kind of predicted this when we talked about the prosecutor being fired. Remember, we mentioned like maybe at this point now his team will try again, because the prosecutor at the time, who was Comey, the lead prosecutor, was like, he don't need to come home. And they did everything they could to convince the judge. And
But
it
it's
worked.
the judge. It's not the prosecutor.
But I do think that there's going to be some conversation around how things were positioned to the judge based on how the prosecutors presented their case.
The judge is probably going to say he's still not taking accountability for what he was found guilty for.
Potentially.
That's what the judge is going to say. The judge say they're still trying to do workarounds. Like at some point, you're going to have to show some type of accountability if you're looking for leniency from the judge.
Yeah, especially because the judge was very direct in saying, it's not just how the prosecutors feel and what they think should happen, but he directly pointed out some of the things that happened while Diddy was awaiting to turn himself in at the hotel here in New York, with things being set up in the room and all those things. So we'll have to kind of wait to see.
Yeah, but is he looking for leniency or is he looking for the law, right? Because the law, they haven't had any case where anybody has hired a prostitute and has been in jail without a bond for over a year. Because that's what he found guilty of, hiring a prostitute and carrying them on state lines. And anybody that has had that for their first time offense has all gotten a bond, has not done this much time. So the judge can say that, but it's supposed to be what's fair in the court of law, right?
Yeah, on page 2 of the document, when they talk about the exceptional reasons why he should be released, because remember they mentioned the only reason he would get a bond in this situation if it was exceptional is that they say in the history of the Mann Act statute, in the history of the Mann Act, there has never been there has never been facts presented this way to incarcerate any other person. So basically, like we've
never seen
from
this
the
before.
cases that they're providing, they don't see. But what will happen is the other side will go and try and find more cases to go back at what.
But they tried,
Diddy
and they couldn't find a case where a person has hired a prostitute has been in this jail this long and has never got a bond.
But Diddy still don't have a bond though, so it worked. So I mean, again, this is just them shooting their shot.
All I'm hearing is trouble is easy to get into and hard to get out of.
Yeah.
That's what my parents used to always say. My dad used to always say that. Trouble is easy to get into and hard to get out of, bro.
Very much so. Yeah, dang. I wonder.